If Formula One wants to be a global sport for everyone, then why does it cost more than a luxury holiday just to see it live? Is this just the price of being part of something elite, or is there something deeper driving the cost of your F1 dream? Welcome back to Formula Dream, where we go beyond the grid to bring you the stories that matter most to real fans. Today, we're pulling back the carbon fibre curtain on one of F1's most controversial realities: why it becomes so expensive for the average fan to attend a race weekend. This isn't just about luxury, it's about logistics. It's about how F1 became the hottest global spectacle, and what that means for the fans who built the sport in the first place. Stick around, because along the way we'll uncover some surprising answers, some hard truths. And yes, maybe Netflix is partially to blame. Let's start with the basics. You've saved up. You're ready to live the F1 dream. But before you even hear a single engine fire up, your wallet's already under attack. General admission, that might set you back £150 to £300 for just one day at a major Grand Prix. Grandstand seats, expect to pay upwards of £400 to £800, depending on the view. VIP or hospitality passes, easily £2,000 to £8,000, and that's not even the top tier. Let's take Silverstone as a prime example. They made headlines recently with dynamic pricing, which basically means the more fans try to buy, the higher the prices climb in real time. Some fans reported prices jumping hundreds of pounds within minutes of the site going live. In other words, it's Ticketmaster with a turbocharger. Now, to put it all in perspective, let's rewind to the 1990s. Back then, a weekend ticket for a British Grand Prix cost around £50 to £70. Today, that barely buys you a Friday practice session, if you're lucky. And no, inflation alone doesn't explain it. F1's growth into a global entertainment giant has transformed the cost structure. These days, getting into an F1 race is like trying to buy Beyoncé tickets. If Beyoncé also brought 20 trucks of carbon fibre with her. So the question becomes, how did we get here? And who's really paying the price? Okay, so you've bought the ticket. You're in, right? Not quite. Because the real financial sting often comes after you've secured your spot. Let's talk hidden costs, the ones no one mentions in the promo videos. First up, parking. At some circuits, it's not even included with your ticket. You could be paying £30 to £70 per day just to leave your car in a muddy field half a mile from the gates. Then there's food and drinks. You're not bringing your own, and you're definitely not getting off cheap. A basic burger and a drink can cost you £20. Multiply that across an entire weekend, and suddenly you're dining like a broke tourist in Monaco. Merchandise? You'll want to rep your team, but a team cap might cost £50. A hoodie? £100 easy. And if you're travelling with family, expect to mortgage your house for matching team kits. Accommodation is another beast. Hotels near racetracks often double or even triple their prices during race weekends. Even budget options, hostels, Airbnbs or campsites can leave your wallet begging for mercy. Even so-called budget GPs like Monza or Spa aren't immune. Once you factor in travel, accommodation and basic expenses, the costs can rival more expensive venues. And if you're chasing the F1 dream in the United States, get ready to spend big. Las Vegas, Miami and Austin have transformed the race weekend into a full-blown entertainment festival. That means concert ticket prices, luxury taxis and VIP everything. It's no longer just about racing, it's about the event. And with that shift comes a new kind of pricing. Because when F1 becomes the hottest ticket in town, everything attached to it gets marked up. Suddenly, it's not just your love of racing that gets tested, it tests your bank account too. One question that we may want to ask is, where is all this money going? It's easy to point fingers at flashy branding or overpriced merch, but the reality goes deeper, much deeper. Formula One is more than a race. It's a travelling circus, moving hundreds of tons of equipment, staff and cars across more than 20 countries in under 10 months. Every race weekend involves over 1,000 tons of freight, from team gear to hospitality units to timing systems, shipped by air, sea and land. And guess what? That logistical nightmare has a price tag. And it doesn't just vanish, it's passed on to fans like you. Then there's the cost of hosting a Grand Prix. Cities pay upwards of $50 million per year just for the right to appear on the F1 calendar. That doesn't include what they spend on infrastructure, promotion, or crowd control. But here's the twist. Many of these Grand Prix don't even turn a profit. The local governments or tourism boards justify it as an investment, betting on economic boosts and international exposure. Meanwhile, F1 itself, and its owner, Liberty Media, absolutely does turn a profit. Because the business model isn't built around local returns. It's built on TV rights, sponsorships, and global brand dominance. The in-person fan is just one piece of the puzzle, and sometimes not the most important one. So yes, ticket prices are high, but they're not just paying for your seat. They're propping up a billion-dollar business that moves faster than any car on the grid. Or to put it another way, imagine if your local football club had to rebuild the stadium in a new city every weekend. That's what Formula One is doing, 24 times a year. And every brick is paid for, at least in part, by the fans. When Liberty Media took over Formula One in 2017, they had a clear goal: make F1 bigger, bolder, global, and in many ways they succeeded. We've seen new races in places like Miami, Las Vegas, and Qatar. We've seen fan bases explode in countries that barely followed the sport a decade ago. And thanks to Netflix's drive to survive, millions of new fans, especially younger viewers and women, fell in love with the drama, the personalities, and the spectacle. But here's the catch. As the sport grew more popular, it also grew more exclusive. Because now, F1 isn't just about racing, it's a lifestyle brand. Luxury fashion collabs, £1,200 jackets, £350 shirts. The paddock looks more like a runway than a garage these days. And that shift has real consequences. The kind of fan who once brought camping chairs and flags to cheer from a hillside at Spa is now competing with influencers, booking £10,000 hospitality suites for the content. The culture is changing. It's not just about watching a race, it's about being seen at one. And that raises an uncomfortable question. Is Formula One still a sport for the diehards? Or is it becoming an experience tailored for the elite? Because as the glitz rises, so do the prices. And while more people might be watching than ever before, fewer and fewer can afford to be there when the lights go out. Okay, so F1 race weekends might be spiraling into luxury territory. But not all hope is lost for the everyday fan. In fact, some of the best parts of F1 are more accessible than ever. Start with the digital world. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, F1's online presence has exploded. You can watch highlights, interviews, behind-the-scenes moments, even full race analysis for free. Sim racing has brought the thrill of the cockpit into people's homes. Virtual Grand Prix events and F1 esports let fans compete and connect with the sport in entirely new ways. Then there's the rise of watch parties. Bars, cinemas, even local fan clubs hosting live race screenings that feel like mini GPs themselves. And believe it or not, some races still offer good deals. Austria, you can camp right next to the Red Bull Ring for a fraction of the cost of bigger GPs. Imola and Interlagos, still relatively affordable, especially if you plan early. Want the gear without breaking the bank? Check out retro collections, fan-made merch, or even vintage pieces online. Sometimes that 90s Schumacher tee turns more heads than the latest $300 team hoodie. And maybe most promising of all, F1 is starting to test things like fan zones, city-wide viewing events, and pop-up experiences during race weekends. So even if you can't afford a ticket, you can still feel part of the action. The bottom line, you don't have to be in the paddock to be part of the passion. Here's the thing. For many fans, it's not just about money. It's about meaning. We spoke to one longtime fan who said, "It's not the racing that's become unreachable, it's the experience." And that hits hard, because F1 isn't just fast cars on fancy circuits. It's emotion. It's hearing the engines in person for the first time. It's standing trackside at Eau Rouge or under the lights in Singapore, feeling like you're part of something massive. And for some fans, it's worth it. They'll save for months, travel across continents and make memories that last a lifetime. But for others, just watching from home, cheering with friends or diving into highlights online, that's enough. It's not about the location, it's about the love. F1 is changing. The way we experience it is changing. And fans, real fans, are adapting. Some are chasing the dream in person. Others are rewriting what it means to be part of the sport. One isn't better than the other. They're both valid. They're both real. And they're both keeping the spirit of F1 alive. Let's get real. Is F1 too expensive for regular fans? Yes, if you're dreaming of a full race weekend, live and in person, from Friday practice to the checkered flag. Between tickets, travel, food and merch, the costs have climbed into the stratosphere, and for many fans that's just not doable. But also, no. If you're willing to experience the sport differently, through streaming, highlights, digital content and online communities, F1 is more accessible than ever. You can still be part of the passion, the drama, the rivalries, without ever stepping foot in the paddock. The real issue? The trend is only going one way, up, unless F1 changes course, unless it actively works to include all types of fans, not just the ones with deep pockets. It risks losing the very heart of what made the sport great, the people. The cheers in the stands, the flags, the home support, the diehards who watched rain-soaked races from crumbling bleachers in the 90s and are now being priced out of the sport they helped build. Something's got to give,